Thanks everybody for being here with us today, on Saturday morning in the middle of a pandemic, supporting us with this initiative that now is at its 4th edition. We are so proud that we are building a little bit of history in this project, and now it's consolidated. And this year, of course, we had to go virtual, so we had to change the format, adapt the format to the virtual delivery, and but we're proud of how the level of participation has now been questioned or minimized by the constraints we have to face. Anyway, it's my pleasure to leave the floor to our dean, Glenn Gerstner, for his opening remarks.
Thank you, Luca. Who's that sitting next to you? Oh, that's your background. Okay, good job. I see Pepper sitting there. Good morning, everybody. On behalf of the faculty, staff, administrators, alumni, and students of the Collins College of Professional Studies, my pleasure to welcome you to the 4th annual Pitch Johnny competition. It's great to see how many submissions we got, how many people volunteered to be judges, how many of you are here today, even though obviously due to the pandemic, this is the first time that we've held this competition virtually. Pitch Johnny has always been one of our most popular events. And I come to realize that the reason it's so popular is that it's the real thing. I've served as interim dean only since May, but I've been a professor at St. John's and in the Collins College since 1989. And I know that one of the most daunting tasks that our faculty have, including myself, is always how do we take these ideas and concepts that we're trying to put across in the classroom and then put them into practice. And I'm just pleased to see that events like Pitch Johnny, what we're doing here today, this shows what your creativity, ingenuity, an effective business plan, and an interesting and entertaining presentation can do. We need creativity and innovation today more than ever before. Regardless of what industry any of us work in, the nature of work has been transformed by COVID-19, like it or not. I know we're all tired of losing the social aspect of work, being on endless Zoom and WebEx calls and seeing people like today in little boxes. But we've been forced to learn how to work when we're not together. And I think that that's something that's been coming slowly, maybe over the past 10 or 20 years. But the pandemic has jump-started the notion that people do not need to be physically in one space to do effective work together. And we're evidence of that right here today. Ideas and concepts like some of the ones you'll hear from our students, they're going to make remote work more efficient, and I really hope more enjoyable. And as I said, the new ideas born out of creative thinking will be extremely valuable in this world of 2020 and even beyond. When I'm not being the dean, my discipline is sport management, so it's hard for me to go even these 5 minutes or so without making a sports analogy. So here it comes. I think it's appropriate, though, a sports analogy with Pitch Johnny, because this is competition after all, and competition is a prerequisite for a sport. We hear a lot of complaining often about the concept, especially in youth sports, of participation trophies, right? Now usually that comes from folks that put a tremendous emphasis on winning. And, I'm not here to tell you that winning is not important. Anybody that knows me, anybody that's played a game of ping pong against me knows that I really like to win. But having said that, today we're only going to have 2 winners. But even the students that are on the teams that don't win, you're going to have learned so much from participating in this competition. You've learned how to plan. You've learned how to work effectively with others. And I hope you've learned how to give a dynamic and persuasive presentation. These are skills that are going to serve you all very well in your professional lives, regardless of what your career holds in store for you. It's impossible to thank all the people that make this event a reality, but there are 3 that need special recognition. And I know it's always dangerous to single out people because you tend to forget someone. But I think in this case, no one is going to be offended. And you know what? If they are, that's too bad. This is why it's good to be the dean. So I'm going to go ahead and thank 3 people. First of all, Steve Farella. Steve, you want to wave? Steve's one of our judges today. His day job is chairman of MDC Media Partners, a global media company. He's been part of the CCPS Industry Advisory Board since it was founded for the last 18 years. For the last 10 years, he served as the chair of that body. He recently stepped down, so this also gives me an opportunity to thank him for all his service. But he's been a tremendous supporter of St. John's. He's been involved with Pitch Johnny all 4 years since it was founded. In fact, our innovation lab for students, if you're up on the second floor, you may notice the Farella Innovation Lab. Well, that is him sitting right here. So Steve, for everything you do for CCPS and St. John's, thank you. Thank you. I also want to thank Assistant Dean Kevin James. Kevin teaches one of our undergraduate courses in innovation and entrepreneurship. And I like to call him the unicorn in the dean's office. Need a dongle to hook up your projector? He's got one. You can't find your network printer, he'll hook you up. But I think most importantly, and most of the reason that the faculty and the staff and administrators enjoy Kevin is that if we need to find money to do something, he is the budget administrator after all. And even if it's from the sofa cushions, he will somehow come up with money to get things done, you know, and in part of what we hear today. So Kevin, thanks for all the behind the scenes work and in front of the camera work today to make Pitch Johnny a reality. We appreciate it. And finally, last but certainly not least, Associate Dean Dr. Luca Andoli. He's the one who somehow pulls this all together, the man that makes it happen. And all I need to say is that without Luca, we don't have Pitch Johnny. So enough said. Thanks, Luca, for all your hard work on this. And finally, I'm not going to spend too much more time. You don't want to hear me. You want to hear the students and their great presentations. I just do want to share something that I think is important. You know, here we are on a Saturday. I got a feeling all of us have a lot of other things we'd rather be doing on a Saturday. I'm looking outside my window here. It is beautiful outside. Yet we all choose to be here and engage in Pitch Johnny. And to me, this is outstanding. And let me tell you why. You know, I have a 45-minute commute to campus every day. So what I've ended up doing somehow maybe in the pursuit of learning is I listen to podcasts. And one of my favorite podcasts, one of my new favorites, is one called People I Mostly Admire. It's hosted by the economist Steve Levitt, who probably is better known for being the co-author of Freakonomics. Recently, he interviewed Nathan Myhrvold. If you have ever heard his name, it's probably because of his 13 years he spent in the late 80s and 90s. He was the chief technology officer of Microsoft. What you may not know about him is that he began college at age 15. He earned 2 master's degrees and a PhD in math from Princeton by the time he was age 23. He then went to study mathematical physics with Stephen Hawking at Cambridge. He is now the CEO of an aptly named company called Intellectual Ventures. And what this company does is they develop patents and intellectual property, and then they create portfolios of them and they sell them to investors, primarily in the technology and energy development sphere. And when he's not doing that, he's had time to write 4 cookbooks, including one called Modernist Cuisine, which actually won the James Beard Award for Cookbook of the Year in 2012. So I'll kind of just summarize that by saying, look, he's a really smart guy. And we probably should pay attention to what he says. And at the end of the podcast, Levitt always asks his guests for some advice. What advice can you give to our listeners? And specifically, Levitt said, what advice might you offer parents? And I'm going to quote Myhrvold here. We ought to allow kids to be academically gifted. If you have a child that's a runner, then the idea of having them try out for the track team or whatever the sport is, and then maybe having your child go get extracurricular coaching or be on the travel team during the summer, very common in society. If you have a child that's a music prodigy and able to play the piano or the violin very well, again, the world is really supportive, saying, hey, that child should get all the help they should. But when it comes to, instead of sports or music, maybe it's mathematics or science, or maybe even innovation, this is where strangely many parents and school administrators and even some teachers will say, oh God, we don't want to make them weird. And Myhrvold said, and like, I got news for you, they're already weird. So for all of my fellow weird folks, who sit here on a Saturday to help the intellectual pursuits of our students. I say thank you all. Thank you all for supporting and participating in Pitch Johnny. And I'm going to turn things back over to Dr. Iandoli, and we'll get started. Thanks again for coming.
Thanks, Glenn.
Thank you, Glenn. Thank you very much. So I leave the floor to Kevin. Is going to give us an overview of the program and do a little bit of housekeeping.
Thank you, Luca, and thank you, Dr. Gerstner, also as well for sharing those fantastic words. I'm going to share my screen for a second so that everyone can take a look and see the schedule for today. So we are currently going to start our for-profit pitch presentations in the following order. I will, when it is time for the student to speak or to take over, I will just motion to them or give them a warning. After each presentation will be 3 minutes long. There will be a 3-minute Q&A by our judge pool, and then we'll transition to each speaker after that. At around 10:20, probably a little after that now, we'll then break into a judge breakout room so that they can actually take the time to do a quick vote as well. We will then have our social entrepreneurship pitch presentations in the same format, a 3-minute pitch and a 3-minute Q&A for each of our contestants. At 10:45, we will then break out into a second judge panel voting room. After that point, there'll be a keynote address by Dr. Carmine Gibaldi, professor in administration economics here in the Collins College of Professional Studies. We'll then have one final break, which will be a tabulation, and then finally our award ceremony. We're still hoping to project to finish at 11:30, but we'll see how that goes throughout this process. One thing that I will mention for the for-profit presentations is that we know that we have plenty of guests who are here with us today, and we appreciate the fact that you all are spending time with us this morning as well. What we like to do is to ensure that you all are also just as well active in the process. And so we're going to actually share with you guys a feedback sheet that you all can actually utilize for the students. So I'm going to share that in the chat. So feel free to take a look at that. So this is an audience sheet. So everyone here is allowed to take a look at this sheet and provide feedback directly to the competitors. So one of the things that we really want to do is to ensure that our competitors have the chance to get as much feedback as possible. So anyone here can simply take a look at this sheet after someone has spoke, after that team has pitched, they can write feedback. And then when they're done with the entire sheet, which is going to be 3 presentations, you could just submit the sheet to us directly. This is not a requirement. You don't have to do this, but I think it'd be great in the spirit of, in the pursuit of helping our students to offer this as an opportunity for them to advance their products or their businesses as well. With that being said, I'd like to get started with the first pitch, which is actually Bottle Sense by Stephen Sweet at this time. So Stephen, the floor is yours. You will have 3 minutes.
All righty, thank you. First, I'd like to say good morning, everybody. And I'm just gonna start off with a few quick facts. So Americans buy 70 million single-use plastic bottles each day. I would almost guarantee that one of you has a plastic bottle in front of you or within your sight right this second. If that fact wasn't startling enough, upwards of 80% of these bottles do not get recycled. This means that plastic waste ends up in our oceans, rivers, on the streets, and in landfills. The bottom line is that we have a garbage problem. The way we are doing things are highly unsustainable and polluting our environment at rates we can't keep up with. Wildlife is consuming plastic, which ends up in the food chain, and landfill space is diminishing around the world. However, there are options available to help prevent this. In fact, some states here and in other countries around the world, you can basically get paid to do this. What I'm referring to are bottle bills, which place a monetary incentive for people to recycle and have been proven to increase recycling rates dramatically. However, there are still billions of bottles not being recycled and hundreds of millions of dollars worth of bottles not being redeemed. The redemption process is too time consuming for most people. This is where Bottle Sense comes in. Those that have bottles, don't have the time, or want to go to a redemption center, they can post them on the app. Another party, the bottle collector, or simply anybody looking for some extra cash, will buy the bottles for a discounted price and take them to a redemption center to be redeemed for their full value. Both parties and the earth win in this scenario. The consumer gets paid and earns a portion of their money back that otherwise would have literally been thrown into the garbage. The collector is able to find bottles easily and quickly while also making some cash. The earth wins because bottles end up being recycled like they should be. I see Bottle Sense as an app like Uber or Venmo, something that's on everybody's phones. And I see everyday people using it, looking to make some extra cash, or people who want to work when they choose to, just like Uber drivers can. The possibilities are vast. And I could even see municipal sanitation departments subscribing to Bottle Sense, because we know that most municipal sanitation departments are not very efficient. This platform could also be expanded to other recyclable products that end up in our landfills. I speak with a sense of urgency because, frankly, this is urgent. This is a problem that is ongoing, and this is a time where new technologies and innovation need to break through into the outdated garbage industry. And I believe Bottle Sense is a great start. So who wants to keep the earth clean and make some green with Bottle Sense?
Thank you, Steve. Great.
Thank you, Stephen. So we're about to walk into our, so sorry, Luca, we're about to walk into our Q&A session. So at this time, if you are a judge and would like to ask a question, I think what would work best in this situation is if you may want to put it in the chat. You can also do it vocally, but I think putting it in the chat would be sufficient and helpful. Luca, is that okay for you? Is that okay?
Yeah, possibly. So we have many judges, so if we try to all speak at the same time, it can be complicated to coordinate. But I mean, feel free if you're more comfortable just speaking up.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have a question from Bill Raisel, Dr. Raisel. Steve, what is the main difference from traditional recycling?
Well, the main difference is that you're going to be redeeming your 5 cents. When you buy a plastic bottle in New York, and in the United States, it's 10 states that do this. It's California, Vermont, Maine. There's a few of them. When you buy it, you pay a 5 cent tax, and you could return the bottle to a redemption center and get your money back. If you're just going to put your bottles in the recycling bin, for the town that you live in to pick up, there's no money incentive for you to do that. So you wouldn't be getting the 5 cents back. That's really the main difference. So a lot of people just don't get bothered with bringing it to the redemption center because, it takes you time. Some people think it's not worth their time.
Thank you, Steve. I had a couple of questions for you more. So is it free to download from Judge Alonso, and also Judge Nick's asking can you explain briefly how it works again? Yeah.
So yeah, it would be on the app store. It's an app. It would be free. Basically, it's a platform to connect people who have a lot of bottles and people who, make a side gig out of collecting bottles and depositing them. Because at least anybody who lives in New York, we always see people going around, with bags and bags of recyclables. And the reason they do that is because they bring them to a redemption center and get paid for them. So basically, let's say it could be, a lot of people could use this. It could just be me as a consumer. I'm at home. My bottles stack up. I have 3 or 4 bags of water bottles, soda cans, beer bottles, whatever it is. I'll post them on the app. The bottle collector will pay a discounted price for them. All right. He'll take them to the redemption center and redeem them for the full value. So my incentive is basically I'm getting, some money back for not doing much besides giving the bottles away. And the bottle collector who's doing the work, depositing each bottle. It's a time-consuming process. You deposit each bottle into a machine, and he makes money also. So basically, the app provides an incentive for people to do this. If you own a business, let's say you have a big barbecue at your house and you have lots and lots of bottles and recyclables, you could benefit from this a lot, because a lot of businesses end up just throwing out all the bottles they have. And it's one, that's bad for the environment. and two, they're losing out on money. Because if you live in a state where you can recycle them and get 5 cents back or on each bottle, you could, it adds up very quickly. In other states, it's more than 5 cents. In Michigan, it's 10 cents. In Vermont, it's 15 cents for different bottles. So
thank you, Steve. We have to stop here because our time is over and move to the next presenter. Thank you, by the way.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. I know that there's a lot of questions in the chat as well. I guess just for the interest of time, because it's about 3 minutes, so we'll do our best to answer as many questions as possible. And I think Dr. Gibaldi will be great at just moderating through those questions. So feel free to continue your questions. What we will do also is just put them in a nice Word document that will also be given to Steve and to our other competitors as well towards the end of the competition. These are great questions that should be addressed definitely down the road as well. But thank you, Steve. We really appreciate it.
Anytime. Thank you for the opportunity.
So next is going to be Palm Ball by Evan Fletcher. Evan.
Thank you. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Evan Fletcher, and I'm a co-founder of Palm Ball. If the sport of tennis and volleyball had a baby, what would that be? Your answer is Palm Ball. The origins of this sport actually started over 15 years ago from when my partner, Stephen Creelman, was in college. However, it was played with rocks and was named rock paddle. When I met Steve this summer, he introduced me to playing rock paddle. He mentioned that his daughters couldn't play because it was too dangerous. After collaborating to solve that issue, we came up with the idea of carving wooden paddles to make this amazing sport kid-friendly. These carved wooden paddles took us a few hours to make, and that was the birth of Palm Ball. After peppering around, we saw the massive growth opportunity the sport could offer, not only locally, but globally. Now, let's go over what's needed to start playing Palm Ball and some of the rules. Our product includes a set of 4 paddles, 2 for each person, and a set of lines. The beauty of Palm Ball is that no net is needed, and anywhere you have space, you can set up the court, whether that be your backyard, the beach, or a campus field, and you're ready to go. The rules are very simple. You serve the ball to your opponent's court like you would in tennis, and then you're in a point. The goal is either to play a winner in your opponent's box or create an error by them missing the shot outside the lines of your court. You can also play more recreationally by peppering around in a circle with family or friends. It's a great way to connect and have fun during a barbecue or vacation by the beach. The unique part of this game is that you can bump, set, and spike like you would in volleyball. That excitement factor, coupled with the solid and addicting sound of the ball hitting your paddle sweet spot, is a sports enthusiast's dream. Currently, our company is in the manufacturing stage and is on track to release 1,000 units by Christmas time to help prove our concept. We have interest from multiple investors that would like to issue senior debt to our company. Our marketing strategy is to first gain the attention of people in the racket sports space. It's a small niche, but if we have lots of excitement there, like we expect, then we'll deploy a much larger marketing plan. We believe that this game can suit everybody. At my house, my 6-year-old cousin played, as well as my 80-year-old grandma. This shows that it can really suit everybody. The long-term goal for this is for Palm Ball to be on college campuses, have social media groups and leagues across the country, in gym classes to teach kids hand-eye coordination, and most largely, an unbelievable direct-to-consumer product. I appreciate the Pitch Johnny Committee and St. John's for hosting this competition and selecting my idea as a finalist. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and I look forward to hearing your feedback.
Very much, Evan. So, waiting for questions. First one for Professor Lin. Can we see a visual aid or a demonstration?
Sure. So, I'm in my house now, so I can't play the sport. You need to be outside or in a much larger area, but here are paddles. So you would have the 2 paddles, a wiffle ball, and you're playing like this. You can bump it to yourself, hit it, spike. But the really unique thing about this paddle is the grip. It doesn't slip out of your hand. Your hand can wrap fully around. It's small, comfortable. And our wood, for now, this is a original product, but in our manufacturing, it's going to be relatively cheap to make. We're talking with a company that can take us to Taiwan for future manufacturing, but at the moment it's being manufactured in Massachusetts. So yeah.
Thank you. Next question from Dr. Raisel. What is your estimated demand for the new sport? Here's some market numbers.
Sure. I mean, we don't have a specific number at the moment, but when we have a whole production video that's made for TV, and we have contacts at NBC and ESPN just through our network. But the racket sports, tennis, paddle tennis, pickleball, all these players off of social media, we've received tons and tons of positive feedback that, where can we get these paddles? Where's your website? All this is in development at the moment. And like I said earlier, during the holiday season, we're going to deploy this.
Thank you. Next question from Dr. Gibaldi. What is your projected growth in the next 3 to 5 years?
I think, for that time period, once we have a proof of concept, the racket community, sports community, enjoys this. We have this in retail stores, shops in hotels, the Marriott resorts, people can pick this up for their kids on the beach to play. But ultimately, we would like to sell this to a larger sporting manufacturing company, such as a Franklin or Wilson, or even through an investor if it gets big enough for them to pay us a royalty. Thank you.
One question from Jenny Alonso: is the ball like the paddle ball? And another question from Steve Ferrella was: how do you protect your idea from a well-financed competitor?
Sure. We have patent lawyers right now in the process of getting us a patent on this idea. We have an LLC as well. Sorry, what was the first question again?
First question is the ball like the paddle ball?
So it's if you've ever seen a pickleball, it's basically like a wiffle ball, but holes all around it. It's fairly durable. After probably a couple weeks or maybe a month of straight play, you could see some cracking. But that's like ping pong. Balls are going to crack. But in terms of the paddle, there's no wear and tear on the paddles. These can last you a very long time.
Luca, you're on mute.
Sorry. Yeah, right on time. So yeah, we can move to the next presenter. Thank you, Ivan.
Thank you.
Now I'm on mute. Thank you for your questions, judges. For any questions that we may be missing, we'll compile them and we'll send them directly to the competitors. Competitors, feel free to jump in if you need to as well, and we'll like to answer a question on the chat. We're going to move on to our final presentation of the for-profit division, Novamp PharmaPack by Shrikant Bharat. Shrikant, you have 3 minutes. The floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. So this is the product for which I am pitching today. So the product it is called Novamp. It is called Novamp. So it is an advanced type of pharmaceutical packaging material. So then, if it is an advanced type of pharmaceutical packaging material, then how it is better than its competitor? So it is for injectable medication. So injectable medications are packed in 3 kind of formulations. So first is called pre-filled syringes. So in pre-filled syringes, what happens is the medication is ready to use, and you inject it directly to the patient. But it's very hard to manufacture, so it's very costly. Then second type of product is called ampule. So ampule, what happens is, so it's a glass container. You fill medication inside it, and then when you have to use it, you break the glass container, and then you withdraw medication from there. So what happens at that time is it produces small glass sphincters, which can go into this medication, and then it's not good for patient. And third kind of product is called vial. So in vial, it's usually designed for multi-purpose, but many studies have proven that after first use, many of the vial shows microbial contamination in them. So then it's not good for patient. So for that, I have designed this product. So this product is unique in its design. So pharmaceutical companies, what they would have to do is like they fill their medication from here. And whenever they have to withdraw medication, they can withdraw it from over here. So it has a specific rubber over here, and the design is specific in a way that like they can withdraw all the medication from the container. So currently we are in a manufacturing process. So we are developing a commercial scale plant, and the market for this is around $3 billion a year globally, and sorry, $5 billion a year globally in 2015, and it's expected to grow around like 12 billion by 2024. And yeah, so that's what our plan is. We have gone to many doctors and many pharmaceutical companies, and we have got a survey from a third-party surveyor, and more than 90% of doctors and pharmaceutical companies have shown their willingness to adapt to this product over conventional product. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Question from Shrikan.
Can I just ask? It takes too long to type.
Go ahead.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So my question is the top where you feed the medication.
Yes.
How does that close off?
So usually, it is closed with the heat or the flame. So what they do, so what pharma company would do is like they put a heat over here and they pull the top. So when they pull the top, it makes a nice circular closure. So then it's sealed.
Can I ask a question? I think to follow Jenny, it's probably easier to speak than type it in, but can medication be stored in this device? Because we're hearing now about the new medication, the new vaccine for the coronavirus needs a very low temperature. And so my question is, can it be stored in there for a while? And can it sustain a very low temperature in order for whatever requirement there is for different medications?
Yeah, so this is specially made for injectable medication. So vaccine would also fall in the same. So it is made of glass. So glass can withhold a very low temperature. So yeah, definitely. So it is designed for single purpose, single time use. So it's not designed for multi-purpose or like yeah. So yeah, vaccines can withhold this container.
Okay, so it can be stored in this container for one time and sustain a very low temperature, whatever these temperatures in terms of low temperatures are considered for medications are considered low.
Yes. So multi-purpose is not a good idea actually.
Right.
So basically what happens is when you withdraw medication first time, you introduce environmental contaminant into the medication.
Okay.
Yeah, and then for the next patient, you also inject those contaminant into that patient's body. So then that patient is receiving medication, but also contaminant in their blood.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Shrikant, a question from Dr. Raisel about intellectual property. Do you have anything?
Yes, I already have patented this product, and then I have 2 investors. So with them, we are developing like a full-scale production plant, and we also have orders from many pharmaceutical companies. And we recently also applied for a sort of a government grant from Government of India. So they have also approved, but it's still in process. So the paperwork is in process, but they have approved the grant for starting up a production line for this product.
Thank you. There are other questions for you in the chat. Maybe you can address them separately. We have to move to the next step in the program. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Excellent. So that's it for our for-profit pitch presentations. At this time, we're going to send our judges to the breakout room in order to conduct the vote there. In the meanwhile, we have Elizabeth who will be in the main room to answer any questions. But at this point, we're going to take probably a quick break in order to do the tabulation, and we'll be right back.
Okay.
So thank you guys so much. We finished our tabulations for the for-profit. We will announce results towards the end of the competition. We're going to move on to our social entrepreneurship division. I just want to point out that this particular division is brand new for Pitch Johnny this year. Every year we've had outstanding just businesses that are focusing in on this notion of helping or doing social good. So we're really happy to kind of break this out this year especially after feedback from the past few years from a lot of our panelists, our competitors. So this is something brand new, especially for the spirit of who we are at St. John's. With that being said, we're going to follow the same little format. Unfortunately, currently right now, Madison, our first competitor, I don't believe she's on the call at the present moment. We're going to, I'm gonna actually, it looks like I have to close the room still. I'm still getting used to the closing of the room part of it too. So I will, actually, Madison is joining us. I'm just gonna see if she does get on the call. Give me another 40 seconds. We're just waiting for folks to leave the breakout room. Thanks, Elizabeth. That's why we always have great GAs to help cut the ice. All right, they should be coming in at about now. Okay. Thank you all so much. So we're going to move on to our social entrepreneurship division. As I mentioned previously, this division is brand new for the Pitch Johnny competition. After many years of hearing all of these great ideas from St. John's students wanting to do good, we really wanted to do our best to offer this as a completely separate division. So we're looking forward to hearing our three competitors. I think I see Madison on the call. Madison, it will follow the same format of 3 minutes of your pitch, as well as 3 minutes of Q&A. At this time, we're going to get started. But what I will do also is, just like how you did for the first group of presentations, we also want to try to give the social entrepreneurs feedback as well. So I'm going to put into the chat another form for social entrepreneurship. As audience members, feel free to fill out this sheet as soon as you can after the pitches. Give feedback to them as well about their idea, what they could improve, what did you guys like, what didn't you like. This will be really helpful for them to improve their business ideas as they go into the next steps of their businesses. With that being said, I'd like to get started by asking Madison to unmute, and you have 3 minutes to present your pitch. Madison, the floor is yours. Ready?
Ready. So, the Right to Know Our Rights is a college student-driven initiative, and we aim to bring change by educating the youth. As we've learned over the last few years, our generation is, if not one of the most progressive generations yet. So basically what we aim to do is educate the youth on the problems and the inevitables that go on in our society. You know, how to protect yourself, what to do at certain times when faced with certain things. How do you make sure that you're safe and the people around you are safe as well? So we do this by assemblies, Zoom meetings, things like that. And by doing this, these students are able to do what we did in a similar way, as make their own opinions, political opinions, societal opinions, you know, stand up for what they truly believe in and not follow an example of a parent for however long, thinking that like that is the exact right way and everything about it is unfaulty. Also focus on inequality and the inequity at the root of the problems. So basically by doing this, we're able to kind of weave our way throughout all of these issues and find the right proper way to communicate and to get things done. We've done this in the summer. We've worked hard all together throughout all of the injustice that we did see in 2020. We went to the proper people, we went through the proper people, and that is how we were able to bring change. We've talked to junior senators, people all in our legislative branch. We've talked to county legislators, things like that, to push and to push change. One of our long-term goals, in a sense, to give you a bigger picture of what we're aiming to do, is to create something like a camp, you know, to rehabilitate people. So whether they are just coming out of rehab or if they are just coming out of prison, things like that, we want to rehabilitate them and put them back into society instead of just giving them this record and just giving them this label and this title, making it more than difficult to go back to who they were before. So that's one of our main things. So basically the Right to Know Rights is just an initiative that pushes change and pushes equality. We let these younger students from low income neighborhoods know that it's not just university, it's not just college, there are other opportunities that you have. You know, you don't just have to be a basketball player, you have to be this, you don't have to be that, you have so many other directions you can go to. And from them seeing people like us who are just like them, you know, who grew up in similar places as them, to be where we are now, that is kind of the biggest view of the Right to Know Rights.
Thank you, Madison. Yeah, it's question time. Question for Madison.
Questions for Madison?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So Madison, so this is something you would do in like at community centers, these sessions online, like how would you execute the, you know, the basic, right.
So what we've been doing and what this scholarship would help us so much with is incorporating. And by incorporating the Right to Know Rights, what we would be able to do is have it open chapters on various campuses. So we've been working with St. John's University. One of the people on our regional executive board has been working with the body of Yale University, or all these places that these students are going to school, to develop a place on their campus. So by doing that, we have been contacting schools, we've been in neighborhoods. We actually have something scheduled with PS 164 in New York. And basically we want to have these assemblies in schools. So for these younger people, we want to use things like Brain Pop or people like things that they're familiar with, you know, and create like these graphics and create these simulations that teach them in a familiar way that they're already learning.
There's a question from Steve Redla. See, I believe there are many state, local, and private resources that are designed to do the same thing. How would yours differ? Is this focused on the college population?
That's a great question. And the difference between us and other social justice organizations is that it is student-led and college student-driven. So basically, we are talking to people who want to be in our position in a sense. You know, they want to grow up and they want to level up in society. So by looking at us and people like us, it's kind of like an inspiration, you know, because we're not different than them. We come from the same place as them, and we have just been blessed with all of the knowledge and all of the opportunities that we've had, and we're sharing it, you know. So that's our main difference. We're not just like talking, or we're not just posting or just going off about certain things to people or social media, things like that. We are actually communicating with attorneys, we're communicating with police departments, we're communicating with certain precincts, you know, to make sure that everything is kind of holistic. The change is holistic. It doesn't benefit one side in the sense that it affects the other side, if that makes sense, in like affecting them in a negative way. So it's like a balance.
It does. Thank you very much. That's a great answer. And this is an important issue. Thank you.
Thank you.
So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna shift a little bit over we're gonna have one more day come up now to just present their idea by Amanda Murray. So Amanda.
So hi everyone, I'm really excited to let you guys into a glimpse of a movement and a message that is really important to me. I want to start off by saying that One More Day was created out of complete tragedy. In 2018, I lost one of my dear teammates and friends to him taking his own life. And that was a really hard healing process for me, but it was a healing process I was able to get through. And that's why early on in my healing process, I made it a vow to myself that no matter what the new normal and the new life looked like, there was no way I was going to continue on without creating something that took what I learned by living through tragedy and turning it into a message to live by. And that is One More Day. So suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the United States. It's in the top 10, and that is a problem. And the problem about that is you can't put a numerical lab value on a feeling, but yet these internal feelings are so strong that it's a leading cause of death. So One More Day actively works to change that. Currently, from each clothing item sold, One More Day gives back 25% of the proceeds to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. And since the website's creation in June of 2020, we've been able to donate over $300 to AFSP since June of 2020. By doing this, One More Day is actively working towards AFSP's initiative to reduce the suicide rate by 20% by 2025. So within the next year, One More Day will be releasing winter and spring clothing collections. And additionally, after that, from the proceeds from that, we hope to be able to raise the minimum of $1,000 to give to American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Additionally, within the next 3 to 5 years, we hope to implement the message and perspective of what One More Day means into wellness centers across the United States, and we'll be using the message of One More Day in mental wellness education. Now, aside from the monetary donations that One More Day does provide to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, the message of One More Day is so awesome because it's a message for yourself and for others that may be going through personal challenges. The thing is, and sometimes it's really hard to recognize, we'll never know exactly the challenges and personal struggles that each person is going through day by day. And that's why One More Day can take on a little bit of a different meaning for each person that wears it. But when we boil it down, One More Day is a message and a wearable reminder that we have the strength together through, no matter what challenge you possibly are going through, we have the strength to make it through, to live and breathe for one more day. Okay, that's all. Thank you guys so much for giving me the opportunity to speak. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amanda. I already have a couple of questions for you. So first one from Dr. Raisel, did you get a trademark on One More Day?
No, I don't currently have a trademark now, but I'm under the LLC of my parents' company.
Thank you. Next one from Larry Dunn. Well done, Amanda. Your presentation was very moving and thoughtful. My question is, how do you think you could get the word out to market One More Day?
Yes, currently. So my next step to get the word out for One More Day, we're actually starting a social media initiative. So it's called Living for One More Day. And we're having people from anywhere send in posts, and they're able to make the comment, and it will be obviously tailored to positive ways that that person particularly is getting through the challenge in a positive outlook, so that we can provide it to the rest of the community of One More Day. And it's just like a way that we can bounce off each other.
Thank you. From Professor Lin, why limit to selling clothing and why 25% only?
Yeah, 25%. I made it 25% only to make sure that I would have enough funds to give back to One More Day in itself in the initial stages. I would really like to increase it more than 25%, but currently I'm not earning any of the proceeds that are coming in. It's going directly back into the organization for continued clothing releases and other events that we do put on.
Thank you. We have time for some more questions. So there's one from Steve Ferrella. He said, very nicely done. It's a big important issue. How can you remain competitive and still give 25% of revenue or profit to your cause?
How many? Okay, 25%. Yeah, so I can remain competitive because of the actual message of One More Day and what somebody is wearing. I think the biggest takeaway is that message and what it means differently for each person, because it means something differently and people can relate to it personally. That's how I'm going to be staying competitive. Whoever is going through their challenge is going to want to wear that shirt to remind themselves that they do have the strength to make it through to one more day. And the other thing about how I'm going to stay competitive, I really hope to implement within the next 5 years distinguished speakers and healthcare professionals within the One More Day team, so we can further advance what One More Day actually is.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we don't have much time for another question, so maybe we can move on to the next one.
Okay.
There are more for you, by the way, in the chat. Maybe you can address individually. There are all.
Okay,
Amanda,
great.
You have a website, you said?
Yeah, I do have a website and all the social media, so I can put that in the chat for everyone to check that out. And I can also try to see if I can share my presentation so you can actually see what a One More Day shirt would look like, but that's on the website as well.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Amanda, if you, I know that you had technical issues. If you want to share that presentation, like, maybe you could set it up as a Google Drive link or something. You can certainly put that in the chat as well.
Okay, all right, I will do that. Thank you very much.
Great, perfect.
Thank you, Madison. Thank you very much. I think we are done with our time, so we probably can move to the next presenter, the last one as well.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. I'm also so sorry about the inconvenience. This is crazy.
Madison, you
Good
have
luck. No problem. Perfectly fine. We're used to it.
And that's the great part about running a Pitch Johnny competition like in this format. You compete from anywhere. So we appreciate the fact that you're able to do that. We're sorry for what's going on right now, but we thank you for really spending the time with us today as well. Feel free to stay on the chat as long as you can, and we'll make sure that we touch base with you when we need to. Okay?
Yes, thank you so much for all your time. Thank you.
So we're going to move to our final presenter for today, the Luminous Lab by Ariel Laura Mateer, if I'm not mistaken. If I get it wrong, please correct me.
No, you got it.
Okay, great, perfect. So Phil, you have 3 minutes, Ariel, starting whenever you say your first word.
Well, actually, I'm going to share my screen.
So after you share your screen and then start.
Okay. Are you able to see anything?
Not yet.
How about now?
There we go.
Yes.
Okay, one moment. I'm gonna open this up. Can you still see?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna minimize this. Great. Good morning, everybody. I am Ariel Laura Mateer, the founder and CEO of the Luminous Lab, which is a collective network agency promoting personal refinement and professional development of underrepresented groups. So the Luminous Lab is what I like to think of as the epicenter for today's forward-thinking, multicultural, and underrepresented people. It is a home for entrepreneurs, forward thinkers, thought leaders, activists alike, and creatives. And our lab is designed to help people reach their full potential in the company of like-minded and forward-thinking professionals. This is where we provide a space for productivity and community and recreation as well. And what I'd also like to think where street savviness also comes with sophistication and where innovators revolutionize the world. So today we're going to be pitching the particular part of the Luminous Lab called the Collegiate Mentorship Pipeline. I recognized very early on that there aren't enough spaces where underrepresented groups can come together to share ideas and build with each other. I also noticed that we are often growing individually and not as a collective. So I took it upon myself to decide to launch a pilot program at a nearby school, PS and IS 268 in Queens, where I was able to quickly recognize the disparities within the education system and strategize a remedy quickly. So here I have the three main points, with number one being youth development and professionalism and personal etiquette. Here, through our 8-week semester series, we're going to support teens through workshops that target money management, college prep, network and navigation, and the like. Secondly, we have the mentor accountability and relatability. How we're going to be acquiring our mentors are through different colleges within the zones of the schools that we're going to be having our programs in. We really want to foster a relationship between collegiate students and also high school, middle school students so that they'll be able to achieve the best potential that they'll be able to achieve. And thirdly, what we have is our secondary pilot program. Since our primary one was already launched in Queens 2 semesters ago, we intend to commence our pilot initiative within the New York City district. And we've already gotten in contact with these 3 particular schools, which are public, charter, and private: Brownsville Academy, Bella Charter School, and International Christian School. And these schools are actually eager. Principals already have seen our curriculum and our syllabus, which is ready to go. Our next point here is our target audience and outcomes. So what really influenced me to do this is my mother is an educator, and going to school with her in a particular school, Boys and Girls High School, I was raised in Brooklyn. I noticed that there was a lot of the things that I noticed in the school to prison pipeline. And I wanted to make sure that we were able to decrease the rate of the dramatic lack of mentorship. And through the Luminous Lab, our collegiate mentorship pipeline is going to be targeting these: financial empowerment, cultural and community immersion, college and career readiness, and self-awareness and lifestyle health. Being able to go through mentorship programs
Ariel?
myself, yes?
That's time.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I'm not sure how to do that. Okay, great.
Thank you, Ariel.
Thank you.
Do we have any questions?
So this exists. You have this in schools already.
Yes, so I actually started the pilot program in a PSIS 268, which is nearby in Queens.
Right. And what's been the outcome?
So what I've noticed is that through different cohorts that we've had, particularly women development and also entrepreneurship, a lot of the students decided to stay back after school for the program that we had. And then they entirely integrated it within school right before lunchtime. So I would come in, and I actually had 2 other people come in with me. We would teach these students through our curriculum that we have via syllabus that was provided. And that's when I realized that a lot of students, they ended up bringing their friends on, and they would stay after school, which dramatically declined the rate that the school realized with the school to prison pipeline that they were facing.
Ariel, do you see this as something you'd like to initiate throughout the New York City school system, throughout the country? How big do you see this getting?
Yeah, I always think large. I see this being something on an international scale, in fact. There's a school in Haiti that we've actually communicated with through the Haitian American Caucus, and they're actually ready and excited to implement this. And we're excited too. It's also a St. John's alum who got in contact with me, who wants to see how they could bring this within their school over there for their high school students.
Good.
Ariel, is there a way, since you got cut off, can you get the rest of you looked very nice, your presentation to us somehow?
Thank you. Okay, sure, I don't mind. Thank you so much. And from there, you'll be able to see what the seed funding would be able to do.
Yeah, you got cut off, so I'd like to see that. Kevin, can we make that happen?
Yeah, the rules will apply to also to Amanda Marie as well, because her presentation wasn't working. I'm asking each of them to either email it to me or set it up as a Google Drive link, whatever works best. But as long as I can get a copy of it, that'd be fantastic.
Looks like she put it up on the chat.
I actually just dropped the link.
Amanda, we like that. That shows a lot.
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Yes, please.
So first of all, I love the idea, and I love your energy too. So is this a program to lift those kids that are already looking for help but don't have mentorship, or is it an idea to save those kids who might be getting into trouble? Because your last slide did confuse me a bit. I thought it was for kids that were kind of moving forward but didn't have the support network that they should have, and then I saw the schools to prisons kind of thing, and that threw me off a little bit.
So the school to prison pipeline was a particular part that influenced the Luminous Lab. However, it is something that I see in private, public, and charter schools. Being someone who was raised in a private school all my life, I realized the disparities in not having mentorship. And then when my mom decided to introduce me to different mentorship programs, that's when I realized the different refinement that was provided, but also her students who are in public schools, they needed that mentorship. And when that was provided, you definitely saw like a significant difference, especially within inner city communities.
Yeah, great. Terrific. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ariel, I want to connect you with someone who's developing a serious game to affect prison recidivism. And
let's do it.
Population.
Okay. Thank you so much.
She's great.
I think that's just about time, if I'm not mistaken. But thank you, Ariel, and our judges. At this time, we're going to go back into our lovely breakout room, and I'm going to be sharing with them the ballot for the social entrepreneurship track. Thank you guys so much. Can you give us like maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and we'll be right back, okay? And we can have Dr. Carmine Gibaldi, Professor of Administration Economics, just share with us a few words. Carmine, the floor is yours. You're on mute, by the way.
Thank you very much, Kevin, Luca, everyone involved. Certainly, this is a really great morning. I'm very, very pleased and happy to be with you in being a professor of entrepreneurship and working with all of you on the faculty, administration, and student side for years now, trying to build a minor program that we have, working with Bill Roselle and Tobin School on a master's program in entrepreneurship, getting the great support from the advisory board, who are many of them entrepreneurs themselves. This is again a great day coming together with all of you, as Lucas said before, 4th year doing this, and we're looking ahead to great things certainly coming up in the future. I had the great honor of viewing all of the submissions. So I have to say congratulations, obviously, to the 6 of you that kind of cleared it and made it to today. But also, even though those folks can't hear me, those other submissions, we had a lot of really good, interesting submissions, which kind of makes us all feel good about being part of CCPS, St. John's University, and being part of this new kind of entrepreneurial wave that's moving through. All of you today, certainly in terms of congratulating you, I was certainly very moved by how you were able to bring your great amounts of intelligence, implications around your knowledge, your passion, your creativity, your innovative juices that you guys bring to this, and thinking in ways of making a profit. And those of you in the social entrepreneurial track, thinking of ways that you could sort of do good, sometimes in a hybrid way and making a profit, other times just purely for social good and social benefit. So again, congratulations to all of you. I, again, really happy to be part of this and have the opportunity to work with you. Before I begin my sort of talk related to a very important, I think, important entrepreneurial idea, which is that of perseverance, I also just want to mention one more thing, particularly for us as faculty. Dean Gerstner mentioned before implications around a way all of you learning, but I'd also like to let you guys know, students that is, that we as faculty also learn a great deal from you, that we sort of work in a way, as I tell you, some of you have worked with in class before, that we work together, right? We make good things happen together. So I appreciate all that I learned from all of you as you share your experiences and as you share in sort of lots and lots and lots of different ways. So again, I thank you for that. As I said before, I'd just like to take a few minutes to talk about perseverance, because again, it is something that I think is sort of vital to becoming or being a successful entrepreneur. It's also something that I think is just very important in kind of getting all of us through the various ups and downs in life. So if you bear with me, again, perseverance, if you would, can be defined as, quote, persisting. I'm going to sound a little academic now, but again, in persisting in doing something despite difficulty or delay in achieving success, right? So all of you working in the entrepreneurial space know that that is extremely, extremely important. It can also be thought of as to continuously try to attain a goal. So obviously goal achievement is something that kind of drives you, and I'll come back to that in a moment. Goals are obviously something we all strive towards at one point or another, and the fact remains that certainly during different times of our lives, we often face large and small challenges. And the best way to overcome these challenges is with perseverance. But certainly, we need to kind of dive a little deeper into looking at perseverance. I don't think perseverance is necessarily a specific personality trait. Now, again, some of you out there might be psychology professors or someone, and you might dispute that with me, but just give me a moment, because my point is, I think that it's kind of more than that, that perseverance is something that goes to we as individuals making sometimes deliberate choices, and that we make choices to attempt in any way to try and overcome these obstacles. It doesn't mean that you will, but it means that you are trying to overcome the obstacle. And that's obviously the good news in terms of having that option to persevere. It means that we're not all necessarily born a special way, where some of us are going to persevere and some of us don't have that ability to persevere. It's only certainly by persevering that we would certainly be in a position to attain a goal. And certainly as a child, my mother used to tell me, Rome was not built in a day. And even though it's kind of corny, I get it, I'm sorry. The implication is certainly there, that, you know, we need to persevere in our efforts to attain whatever that goal might be, whatever that desired objective might be. And I'd just like to offer quickly 4 points related to, maybe tips, if you would, related to successfully attaining or attempting to successfully attain one's, quote, end goal. There's what I might call kind of the easy way, and that's through kind of looking to, you know, self-help books that kind of paint a picture of, follow this sort of formula that someone lays out in their book, and you will attain success, you'll reach your goal, whatever it might be. We all know that it's usually the longer, harder road that most of us have to, 99.9% of us have to kind of work really hard at overcoming obstacles, at continuing to pursue and persist, as one might say. Secondly is the notion of the comfort zone idea, right? And here, the basic idea is that you need to get out of your comfort zone in terms of going to persevere in your efforts. That most of us kind of hate the notion of change, but that it's important to kind of push yourself out of that, pardon me, out of that space where you feel most comfortable. And that means change many times is required. Third, we go back to that idea regarding and related to goal setting. And there again, goal setting is important because it certainly plays a very, very essential role where perseverance is concerned. One must identify clearly specific goals that can then motivate them, present a target for them as to what the objective overall end point of their efforts might be. And therefore, it kind of pulls you through, drives you through, allows you to persevere and reach that end point. And a fourth point, or lastly, regarding these quick tips, again, unsolicited tips, I know, but it's my few minutes. It's the idea around negativity, right? And the basic idea, and you guys know it, I'm talking to the 6 of you that are and did present today and competing today. And that is that, you know, you're only as good as you think, and that there are implications around sort of muting and pushing out the negativity and the negative voices. Now, again, I would suggest obviously you do that in an educated way, that obviously and you might hear opinions stating that the risk is too great, that you could wind up in financial ruins, or something very dramatic can happen, or all the experts in your field are saying, don't do it. That's not negativity. That's kind of concrete stuff. I'm talking about the negative voices. Can I actually do this? Pardon me. Can I actually achieve this? Do I have what it takes? That's the kind of negativity I'm talking about, kind of tamping down, sort of muting somehow, some way. And in closing, I would sort of leave you with, and allow me to look to it, 2 quotes. One from Nelson Mandela. Obviously, all of you know of him. South African anti-apartheid leader who had to spend his entire life fighting. And that is that Mandela reminded us that it always seems impossible until it's done. And the second quote would be from Winston Churchill. And Churchill, who had been quoted many times over, passes us this particular quote, where Churchill again states, "Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." So I ask you to push through, continue to work, applying your creativity, your knowledge, your passion, your great ideas. We, as faculty, staff, advisory groups, you have lots of support here, and I'm glad to see all of you taking great advantage of it. I wish you much great success now. That means today, but also always. Okay? Thank you very much for having me. And again, it's always a pleasure learning with you, from you, and working together with you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, let's see here. Okay, I'm also gonna hit this. Please work. Can everybody see my screen okay?
Yep. Yes.
Yeah, it should hopefully, it takes a little time on my screen to finally show me what I'm looking at here. So as I mentioned previously, I'm gonna move this away or switch this around to the opposite side. That's probably the best I can do. So as I mentioned previously to our competitors and to everyone here, the final placement for Pitch Johnny consisted of 2 rounds. The first one was a round 2 where it was an online popular vote. And this popular vote was pretty fantastic. We had over 500 submissions for Pitch Johnny this year, which when you think about the exposure level, it was at least 5 times more exposed in terms of the amount of people who was interested in engaging with our students. And they voted for them previously. The popular vote was worth 40% of the vote, while the judges' tabulations in round 3 were worth 60% of the vote. For the interest of time, we are going to just go over final placement. However, we do have this information available, especially to the competitors who may want to see how well they did in the popular vote. We do have that available, and we will definitely share that at a later time. But with that being said, I'd like to go over our competitors and what our competitors will be getting as well. So this here actually is our Pitch Johnny badge, our digital badge. So all of our students today, all of our competitors will be actually having a digital badge added to their account. What does that mean? Well, digital badging is actually a part of a brand new feature of education, especially now when it comes to getting credentials. So this will be added as a credential that will be available for them on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, funded through a claim by Credly. To give you an example of what that looks like, here's my digital badge that I received for online teaching. So I actually am certified to teach online, but our students, all of our students will be able to get a digital badge just like this so that they can show that they were actually winners of the Pitch Johnny competition, that they engaged, that they are skilled in entrepreneurship and innovation, and it will allow them to help themselves in future opportunities that they look out for. With that being said, love to definitely go over our winners for the for-profit division. In third place, we have Palm Ball by Evan Fletcher. So we can give him a quick round of applause. In second place, we have Bottle Sense by Stephen Sweet.
Thank you.
And finally, in first place, we have Novam Pharma Pack by Shrikant Bharat.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Great job, all of you.
Moving on to our social entrepreneurship division. In third place, we have The Right to Know Your Rights by Madison Medra. Madison, are you still on the call?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Just want to make sure. In second place, we have The Luminous Lab by Ariel. And finally, in first place, we have, technical difficulties. But in first place, we have Amanda Murray's One More Day.
Thank you very much.
No
Great
problem.
job.
Great job to all of our social entrepreneurs. Especially, this is the first time we've run this competition in this format. We really appreciate all the work that you guys have done as well. I just want to also make sure we make a very clear special thanks to our judges, Steve Farella, Larry Dunn, Jenny, Nick, Professor John Swan, Bill Riesel, and Professor John Lin. I think we also had, and Luca, please remind me, we also had 2 other judges as well who were added.
Yeah, Neil Feinstein.
Yes, Neil Feinstein, who created the tagline, Innovation Thrives Here, for us here as well. So we really appreciate it. Sorry, this slide is old, I apologize. But ultimately, you know, and I think I'll leave it at this. We really thank you all for all the work that we've done this year. I think, you know, and Luca, please feel free to jump in on this as well. But honestly, when it comes to Pitch Johnny, I love the tagline that, you know, Neil really spun off here with Innovation Thrives Here, because I mean, even in the pandemic, we're able to do something unique that we've never done before. Especially now more than ever. And we really appreciate all of the contestants this year, the ones who are in our pre-screening rounds and the ones who are competing here today. Luca, do you have any final words, or I don't know if Glenn's on the call still?
Yeah, I just want to take a minute to tell to all the participants that this is just the starting of a process, and we are very willing to help you to move forward. The system we are putting in place, I mean, it takes a lot of work and energy, and no, it's not perfect, but the idea is basically that there's a pathway. This is very early stage. These are your ideas. Some of you are more advanced than others, but you still are committed. But of course, there's more to do in terms of other things that you need in terms of bringing your ideas to fruition on a market or for users or in society. So that's what we do basically, starting now. And reach out to us. We will reach out to you as well. First of all, you got a lot of feedback today, not just the one that you got directly. Just look also at the chat, and we also have other feedback from the participant that we will send to you through. And this is one of the benefits of doing this digitally. We have much more feedback because we have these tools, right? So all of this is like Dr. Gibaldi said in his speech, is that type of concrete advice that you need to fuel your idea, in addition to your energy, of course. There's a lot of feedback that you need to incorporate, and you need to rethink and revise. It's all about, you know, reworking your ideas so many times until you get the right target and you have the right solution for that target. So this thing is called design thinking. This is something we are trying to enforce in several classes through this Design Factory space and teaching platform that you see in the background of Kevin. There is this nice logo, and also on his shirt and my shirt too. The point is to put you on a path of continuous experimentation, and also on a path in which you can reach out and get the feedback from all the resources we can put at your disposal. For instance, one of these resources is the experience and the expertise of our judges today. Some of them can help us, hopefully, you know, to mentor you if you want to move forward. We are putting together other initiatives and other opportunities for you to grow the ideas. And our final objective is to, just be supportive of this path. And that's why we tend to prefer, one of the things that we consider when screening the ideas, one of the things that the judges consider when scoring your ideas is not just the impact that it's going to make, but also your commitment and how serious you are about it and how skilled you are about it, and your ability basically to bring it to fruition. So just consider us as one of the resources that you can use along this pathway, and don't be shy in that respect. Reach out to us anytime. And again, if you don't do it, we will do it. Thank you, everyone.